Welcome back, everybody, to episode 221, Hot Tags of the Week. Some different pro wrestling news, rumors, stories, whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Let's start talking injuries, because these are just continually coming left and right. Mark Henry apparently was injured during that match with Big E on Monday Night Raw. That's why that big ending was such a horrible botch, and it just sort of was like, oh wait, he fell? I'm going to pin him, because falling hurts. What do you guys think about Mark Henry getting injured here? Is this going to be something that really pushes him towards that retirement that he's been talking about?
Well, first off, there was a lot of bigs in that long on sentence you got there, so that there's that too. I don't know.
Big sentence.
With Mark Henry, he might say he's about to retire, and he might wear his pink suit, and then he might attack someone and be like, "Nah, fuck you guys." So who knows? I don't know if it'll technically make his retirement come sooner. I still think he has 2 more years left in him. He's a good company guy. Everyone likes him. So I'm not too high on this bandwagon that people think that he's going to retire. Big Show maybe, because Big Show is less useful than Mark Henry is nowadays.
All right, first of all, Drew, I have to correct you on one thing. It's not a pink suit. It's a salmon suit. There's a difference. Learn it.
I thought you were going to correct him on long on sentence instead of
I was going to say long on sentence. That was my next point. Long on sentence. Really, Drew? I was waiting on that one.
We'll see.
But no, I don't. Anyway, I don't think this is going to be any much of a factor as far as having him retire early. You know, I think his plan is still going to lay the same whether he got injured now or not. I don't think this is going to speed things up. So, and like Drew was saying, I think he's got at least 1.5 years, 2 years in him left.
Oh, he's been saying for a while that he was going to retire this year.
That's what he's been saying, but I'll believe it when I see it. And then even when I do see it, I'm not going to believe it because the last time.
It'd be great if like a full month afterward, everybody's just like, "You're coming back, right?" And he's just like, "No, I fucking retire." Yeah, you're putting on that salmon suit, right? I know this deal, Mark. Lego, something that I had predicted a couple days before this ended up happening. I changed my WrestleMania predictions to be, well, if Titus O'Neil's not going to win this Andre the Giant Battle Royal, Mark Henry's definitely going to win it. Well, now he might be too injured to be able to do that or whatever. You think he's wrestling at WrestleMania, or is this going to put him off too much?
I have no idea. I don't know the extent of his injury, so... But as far as what do I think, does it really affect the end of his career? Probably. It's probably going to put him on the shelf for a point where if WWE thinks he's only going to be back for a couple months, they probably won't use him. So it's a shame to see him go out this way.
They're really underutilizing him this year.
I didn't realize you had such power. So you predicted Titus and then Mark Henry. Next, can you predict that Sheamus is going to win? Because I'd like to have him on the show for a while.
Funny enough, he is my next bet that I was gonna put him down if Mark Henry does come out as like a report that he's injured and not wrestling at WrestleMania. I'd be like, all right, Sheamus is going to win then.
Thank you.
Sheamus and Del Rio are going to win in tandem and then just fall apart.
Good.
We have more injury reports when it comes to a positive side of things, though. Possible early return for John Cena. He's talking about doing something risky, which that's never really a good sign, but that could be the difference maker that could end up making him come back for WrestleMania. What do you guys think? He's been Superman before.
No. No.
So what are you saying?
No. But for reals, no. Don't do it. John Cena, he's been a little bit more injury prone over the past few years. So when you put Risky and John Cena together, that doesn't sound it's going to go too well. Yeah, he might be back for WrestleMania, which at the end of the day, that's the biggest show. So I understand that he wants to be back for that. But what if the night after he does something really bad and really injures himself to the point where he won't be able to compete at all going forward? Weird things can happen when you take risks. And, if Daniel Bryan really can't wrestle, I know this is a completely different situation, but at some point, Vince needs to go, hey, you're my cash cow. Step the fuck back and recover.
Don't listen to him, John. Don't be a pussy. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Well, I'm all for him not injuring himself further. I would hate for this, for him to try to come back early and just make the situation worse. I definitely don't want that to happen. That said, though, if there's any way possible that he can legitimately come back and not hurt himself further, I would love to see him on WrestleMania. I think the show needs him, especially with all the other people out right now. John Cena is the biggest name in the company, so they need to have him there if at all possible. Just don't hurt yourself more, John.
What if that's his rationality? It's like a whole 180 degrees, it'll balance itself out thing. He's just like, wait a minute. If I make 4 left turns, I end up coming back to the same spot. What if I injure myself more? I'll become uninjured. He starts like pouncing on himself, you know?
Well, I mean, John Cena, we've seen it before. He's got like the Wolverine style healing factor there. So I wouldn't put it past him to be ready.
Yeah, he's not quite Deadpool, but go watch Deadpool, by the way, everybody listening. That movie's funny.
Even me?
Yeah,
Okay.
Go watch it.
It's cool.
We have 2 people that are supposedly leaving the company now, besides Mark Henry, and, you know, John Cena's not going to go anywhere. But Brie Bella, more reports than ever that she's leaving, and now King Barrett is going to be leaving in June, roughly, if the reports are true, and some people were reporting that was all BS. Ryback, of course, tweeted out, "Oh, I called dibs on the wasteland." The big guy. But actually, Barrett was tweeting something about it, and he said, "I'll talk more about it later, but right now I'm focused on doing my job," which pretty much means I don't want to say that I'm leaving, but I'm leaving. And if the reports are true that the reason why is because he's sick and tired of being somebody who gets passed over all the time. And, you know, it makes sense. The guy's been...
Oh, do you know what really helps you not get looked past? When you stay healthy and on the roster.
Yeah, but to a certain extent, WWE just been fucking him over. Like, he could have gotten over so well with that Bad News Barrett thing if they would have turned him babyface, but they didn't.
Oh, and it would have been great. They would have invested in him and then he gets injured.
Well, like, the Nexus thing, they kind of killed that. They split the whole thing up into the core, and then that ended up being pointless. And then they didn't even do the logical Nexus versus core match at WrestleMania. It was like core versus, what was it, like Big Show and 2 other people or something? Like, some ridiculous thing like that. Like, they seem to not really care that much about Barrett. And if that is something that he's been realizing for a long time, he's probably just at the point now where he's just like, well, you'll never care, so fuck you.
I think Barrett's had all the makings of a main eventer, and I think he's been his own worst enemy.
Because of injuries or other stuff?
Because of injuries. See, it's like even when he didn't get the long layoffs, he still got short ones. He's a guy you always heard was getting bashed up, and sucks to be him.
Drew, any thoughts on Barrett if he leaves?
It'd be disappointing because I had him as my one to watch this year, but other than that, I liked him. I've always thought that at any given point they could give him a main event push, and it would make sense. Many people would not say anything bad about it. They've just, other than him getting injured, they have mismanaged him so bad. They got rid of the Bad News Barrett thing when it was at its peak. They gave him the King Barrett thing that led to absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And just at the end of the day, if he wants to go out and make something of himself, and who knows, maybe in like 4 or 5 years after he makes his run in New Japan or something like that, he could come back and be a veteran who they could actually do something with then. But at the end of the day, maybe he just needs some time off. Injuries get the best of people, and if he's just gonna not do anything, I don't blame him. Sit out for a while, figure out something else to do if wrestling isn't his main focus. I love Barrett. Hopefully he stays. I'm not 100% sold that these rumors are true. There's something there, obviously, with him tweeting something out. But at the same time, WWE knows that he's a valuable asset, and they won't let him go unless they absolutely don't need him.
Yeah, he's a talent. I'm a fan, but it does suck with, like you guys were saying, the whole start-stop pushes with him. Taking away his Bad News gimmick right when it was basically at its peak, like Drew was saying. That's ridiculous. He's had lots of injuries. You guys have pointed that out, and that definitely works against him. But I just looked, he's 35 right now. So, he's still got some mileage in the tank there left.
Ooh, I thought it was like 30-something. Well, I'm like, shit, never
He's
mind.
30-something.
Yeah, he's 35. So, he's not out of the game yet. He's still got a few years in him at least. So if he can find some place that appreciates him more, I mean, he's probably not going to get as much exposure, obviously. But if he can find better place to take his talents where he's appreciated more and utilized better, because he's a talent. You guys all recognize that he's talented, but if you're not going to use him properly, then why have him around? I mean, like Drew was saying, the whole King Barrett thing too. Cool, he's the king of the ring, and what have they done with that so far? They had him feud with R-Truth over a plunger or something, and he's in the League of Nations now. But I mean, it seems kind of pointless. But I wish him the best, obviously. So.
Moving on here, Vincent J. McMahon Legacy of Excellence Award is going to be given out next week. The first ever that sometime they came across somebody who's actually eligible for it, apparently. The most prestigious award ever in the history of the company, all this other kind of stuff. This is going to Triple H, right?
Either Triple H or Vince himself, Vince Jr.
Those are the ideas that me and Mike batted around on the post-Raw show. So, yeah, we think it's a gimmick tie more than it is a legitimate award.
It's gotta be.
I think it's just a way to get more heat on Triple H heading into WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like the go-to thing. I mean, if it's not, I'll be utterly shocked. Like, what if it would just be like, the Vincent J. McMahon Legacy of Excellence Award goes to Bo Dallas. It's like, what? A lot of people think it's going to go to Daniel Bryan. To me, that's just wishful thinking.
No way.
I can't imagine that happening. I would consider it more likely to be somebody like a Heath Slater than it would be Daniel Bryan. But if you are hoping for Daniel Bryan and it doesn't work out, don't get all pissed off. It's a fucking gimmick. It has to be a gimmick. If it wasn't, it would be something that they would incorporate into the Hall of Fame. It'd be like another side thing like the Warrior Award. That's obviously not a gimmick. Well, it sort of is. But that's something that they take seriously. This is going to be on Monday Night Raw, the night after they determine who the number one contender is, leading to WrestleMania. It's a gimmick. Don't get too upset, and it's going to Triple H.
Hey, how about this to the listeners? If you think it's anybody besides Triple H or possibly Vince, put it in the comments below. Let us know who you think it's going to be, because I want to see what other people are thinking.
I think the only other thing that you can possibly bring up there is Stephanie. It's got to be a McMahon.
I don't know. I don't think it's Steph.
No, I'm leaning 100% towards Triple H, because I think that's just the easy, let's have a coronation type of thing, and then that way Roman Reigns, because he's clearly going to win, spoiler alert, that he'll come in, he'll break the award. You know what I mean? And then maybe he'll struggle to fight over the belt like he did last WrestleMania.
Ugh.
Terrible.
What do you mean? That was one of the best parts about last WrestleMania.
Yeah. Bad memories. So, Big Show had a podcast with Stone Cold, Steve Austin after Monday Night Raw. And I know, Kaylin, you said that you watched it. Drew and Wago, did you guys get a chance to check it out?
Nope.
Drew, did you?
No.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll start this again. Kaylin, what did you think about the Big Show podcast? I thought it was pretty decent.
I liked it. I thought it was all right. I like when he gets the superstars on there and they kind of talk about behind the scenes stuff. I learned some stuff about Show that I didn't really know before. I hadn't heard a lot of shoot interviews with him. So about him growing up and, I'd heard a little bit before about how he broke into the business, but it was cool hearing some of the in-ring stories that they were telling.
I like hearing... Go ahead, Wago.
They've actually had a podcast together before, just on Austin's iTunes, and I don't know if there was any similar stories or the same stories they told there, but those guys actually have some fun chemistry when they're talking together, so I'm definitely giving it a chance. It's just not high on my priority list.
Yeah, there was some overlap with the other one, but I like this one. It's worth checking out if you like that kind of stuff.
They seemed pretty friendly with each other, more so than I would have thought that they would have been. Not that they were enemies or anything like that, but...
Well, I wouldn't say they had this type of relationship, but there were times where Austin was somewhat of a mentor to the Big Show. They've told stories where he essentially taught Big Show how to be a giant.
Yeah, they did tell a story about him getting fired up in the ring. That was a good story.
Was. I think it was the same one.
It was the one where he kept giving him all the stunners and stuff.
Oh, like the 10 stunners in a row
Yeah.
he kicked out.
One of my favorite parts about this podcast from Monday night was Big Show just completely forgot that he was on the network, and he was cursing and stuff. They had
they had to keep censoring it. But one time he did say shit, and it went through the censors, though. I noticed.
Fuck
that.
went through too.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. He said something like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking whatever, and then it bleeped after it. It was oh man. And every time he was drinking a sip of the beer, he was like, I got a kayfabe for a second and pulled the towel over the beer. I recommend it to people to check out. You know, if you have the time to put it on in the background, you know, you're like cleaning or something like that, you know. It's not something you have to actually watch.
Like, how do you punish the Big Show, though, for swearing?
Right.
All right, Show, we're going to send you to OVW. Oh, wait, they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, we're going to send you down to the Performance Center. We're going to be able to teach you how to drink a beer covered in a towel without actually seeing the beer. He's kept doing that all the time. But I thought that the cursing was funny as hell because it was just kind of like...
I hope they do send it to NXT. That idea that we had can finally come.
I would love somebody like a Big Show going to NXT.
But he's got to be champion if he does.
Yeah. Have him be the one that beats Finn Balor.
That'd be great, though. Imagine how pissed off people would be.
It's like after the whole big entrance, where they knockout punch. He's just like, I'm a main event dude on the main roster.
1, 2, 3.
And I got a big ass fucking fist. This is how this was going to turn out. I think the last hot tag that I have up here, yes, that is the last one. WWE's announced that they're going to do a Global Cruiserweight Series tournament July 13th on the network, and they're going to get people from outside the company to be a part of this. Specifically, they're looking for people outside the company because they want to give them a little bit of a shot. And if anybody's that interesting and gets over with the crowd and stuff like that, probably going to bring them in NXT. So I don't really know too much about a lot of the indies. I mean, it's hard to follow that kind of stuff, even nowadays with the internet. But there's got to be tons and tons of people out there that could be amazing for this. And I mean, there's people in OTW that I would be like, dude, freaking try to go there and whatever. But you got people like, they work a lot with Evolve now. There's thousands of fucking little promotions out there and whatever like that. Is there anybody that stands out to you guys that you know from like indies or elsewhere from WWE that you'd like to see take part in this?
See, a lot of guys are getting signed now by Ring of Honor to actually written contracts, and there's a lot of guys from Lucha Underground that are under written contracts, and I don't care about anyone on TNA. So WWE's actually got a lot of the talent that I'd like to see. ACH, Cedric Alexander, he'd be pretty good. Cheeseburger, definitely. Curry man. Curry
So like, well, we want to own the rights to the cheeseburger name, so can we call you like Double Cheeseburger?
Can we call you Big Mac and Coke?
Yeah, Christopher Daniels would be kind of cool to bring in there. I like that.
No. Curry man.
Or what was the other dude? The other food guy. Shit. Sushi, yeah. Bring him in there. And then they would, WWE would typically give him like this very stereotypical Japanese theme, you know what I mean? It's awful. But I like the idea of this tournament in general. And I like the idea that it's a separate tournament from the company, because a lot of people have been talking for years about the Cruiserweight title should be coming back. No, it shouldn't. We don't need the Cruiserweight belt. But doing a tournament, that's cool. Why not do this kind of thing, you know? Like, we had the Beast in the East special, we had the King of the Ring, the Elimination Chamber. These side things that you can sort of push off from the main roster talent, that's the best way that you can incorporate this stuff, I think. Anybody else, like, super excited for it? Or not excited for it, maybe?
Honestly, I'm very much indifferent. I'm gonna watch, but I don't know what my expectations are. I don't really have any, so I guess it can only be like there's nothing predisposed which I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna hate it if this happens, or I'm gonna like it if this happens. They've just got free reins to impress me, so I'm intrigued.
Yeah, this is going to be on the network, you said, right?
Yep, July 13th.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, like Wago said, I have no preconceived notions or expectations going into it, so I'll check it out. If I don't like it, then I don't like it, but hopefully there's some good stuff.
Drew, you going to be watching it?
Duh, because we're going to be doing coverage on it, so duh, I'm going to watch it.
I don't know yet if I'm going to be doing coverage of it. I'm not 100% sure. I might do like a post show or whatever like that. What day is July 13th? Is that like a Sunday, or is that one of those, like, they're going to be recording at like 4 a.m. on another fucking day or something like that?
July
It's
13th is a Wednesday, yep. So in place of NXT maybe? I don't know. Or after?
I think it was supposed to be 9 o'clock, if I remember correctly. But I don't know what time NXT comes on, because I always watch it after the fact.
Well,
So it might be like NXT leads into that, maybe. I don't know. NXT's an hour, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
so
for
NXT could be 8 o'clock, and then that goes into that.
Well, see, with this tournament, will they have the whole tournament on one show, or will
think
just
so.
take? I doubt that. They would probably have some prelim rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if they put a match or two on a Raw or SmackDown leading up to it to get people hyped to tune into it.
Oh man, they don't have to get Mojo Rawley hyped.
I see what you did there, Tony.
I was waiting for it.
Alrighty, guys, leave your comments below. Tell us what you think about all these different topics. Are you excited about the tournament that we just talked about? What do you think about the injuries and the people possibly leaving WWE? Any thoughts on the Stone Cold podcast? And who do you think is going to end up being that recipient of the award? Any other topics that we didn't talk about, too? Leave them in the comments below as well. We'll try to chime in on any opinions we have about those. And we're going to take a break with the Part 3 rest hold coming up next. After that, we're going to start getting into Fastlane predictions, so stay tuned, everybody.